Okay, it's 11 o'clock, and I'd like to start today. I'm really excited to share about habit 3. Okay, so good morning. As you recall, we have been going through the 7 habits of highly effective people, a best-selling book by Stephen Covey, book that I've applied in my life for at least consciously for 2 decades and unconsciously probably for a lot longer, because these are not new principles. It's just been put together as in a form that we can communicate and teach people. So habit 1 was to be proactive. Habit 2 was to begin with the end in mind. Habit 3 was to put first things first. Habit 4 is to think win-win. Habit 5 is to seek first to understand, then to be understood. Habit 6, synergize. Habit 7, sharpen the sword. And the first 3 habits are what we call private victories, okay, that grow you from dependence to independence. And the rest of the habits are public victories as you grow in interdependence with others. Okay, so habit 3 is to put first things first. If in habit 1, you are the programmer because you're proactive, in habit 2, you write the program, what you want. You begin with the end in mind. Then in habit 3, you are running the program. Now, at first glance, putting first things first seems to be about time management, about efficiency. Actually, it's actually more about personal management, not time management, personal management. And the focus is on effectiveness. If you remember only one thing about habit 3, it is this: the first things in life are relationships, people in your life. Because the essence of all effectiveness in life deals with people, with relationships. So it's relationships first, not schedules. It's leadership of people, of your team, of yourself, then management. Okay. The paradigm of relationships is where a controller like me, a type A driven person who gets things done, actually struggles the most. Habit 3 is where someone like me needs a major paradigm shift to focus and put relationships at the center of everything. Now, habit 1 looks at who you want to be. Habit 2 looks at what you want to do in your life. Habit 3 is about having a compass, not a clock. But let's talk about this clock. Arnold Bennett, in his classic book, How to Live on 24 Hours a Day, writes about a daily miracle, the equal allotment of time given to each of us every day. He says the supply of time is truly a daily miracle, an affair genuinely astonishing when one examines it. You wake up in the morning magically filled with 24 hours of the unmanufactured tissue of the universe of your life. It is yours. It is the most precious of possessions showered upon you. You know, the opposition, we're having elections, the opposition talks about having a level playing field against the PAP in these elections. Well, time is where the playing field is level for everyone. Whoever you are, you have got 24 hours a day. The secret to using your daily budget of 24 hours effectively is learning how to prioritize. Prioritizing what you do every day is the one skill you must master. And so the key is learning to manage ourselves, not our time. So habit 3 is about personal management. It's about taking the big picture, the abstract, the idealistic. We talked about imagination, remember? And turning them into the day-to-day, the concrete, the practical things. It's about taking external actions that match your internal convictions, your dreams. It's about turning that dream, which our imagination created, turning it into reality. So as Covey puts it, while leadership decides what first things are, it is management that puts them first. Okay, you can decide what it is. You have to act so that you're actually first. Now, there are three things you will remember about habit 3 when you finish this. Okay, first, the paradigm about relationships, which I just talked about. Secondly, it's about the big rocks. And third, it's about the time management matrix. Okay, so let me talk about the big rocks and the small rocks. So Stephen Covey introduces the analogy of big rocks versus small rocks. I will post a link to a video where he demonstrates this. Okay, later I'll post it on this chat group. Imagine that you have a pile of sand, small rocks, and a pile of big rocks, and a jar into which you must put everything. The first lesson that you will learn is to fill first the jar with big rocks. So you put in the big rocks first, then you put in the small rocks, and finally the sand. The smaller stuff will settle into the cracks of the big rocks, allowing you to fit everything in. So your life is like the jar. The small rocks and sand are the urgent but less important things in your life. There are endless to-dos and fires to put out. The big rocks are the most important things in your life. Activities that don't have hard deadlines, but help you achieve your main personal and professional goals, as well as your overall mission in life. Big rocks concern spirituality, health, relationships, and professional purpose. These are the things that ultimately develop what people will say about you in your eulogy. Habit 3 is about focusing on the tasks that help you achieve your most important goals and fulfill your personal mission. It's about getting results. Okay, so we talked about relationships, but at the end of the day, at the end of your life, it's about getting results. Okay, so that was an illustration, a simple practical illustration of the big rocks versus the small rocks. Put it into a more systematic way, we talk about the time management matrix, the 4 quadrants in the time management matrix. Okay, the time management matrix is also known as the Eisenhower matrix. Let me share my screen at this stage. I want to share my screen. And okay. Okay. Okay, so put first things first, and this is the time management matrix. Okay. It was created, it's called the Eisenhower matrix by some people because it was created by Dwight D. Eisenhower, the 34th president of the United States. But it's Stephen Covey that made it popular in his book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Okay. Now, if you use the time management matrix, our daily activities can be broken down into 4 quadrants, sorted by urgency and importance. Okay. Quadrant 1 is important and urgent. That's the quadrant of necessity. Okay. So these are the short-term tasks. Tasks in this box include deadlines, crises, problems that require your immediate attention and are also important for achieving your goals. Okay, so examples include responding to urgent emails, to work deadlines, especially deadlines from the boss, responding to an angry client and customer, and so on. And what you do with it is you just do it. Okay, this must be done. You just do it. But if you're smart, you will proactively eliminate tasks in this box by planning ahead. Okay. Now, quadrant 2, important but not urgent. This is called the quadrant of productivity, or quadrant of quality and personal leadership. These are the long-term tasks. And quadrant 2 is the magic quadrant we need to focus on because they have high returns and because they are long-term in nature. It is the most important quadrant, yet often the most neglected one. Quadrant 2 is about having personal leadership and focusing on the important tasks that matter. It reflects your life goals and desires. Okay, so Stephen Covey talks about how this is about prevention. So under prevention, I put exercising, the recreation, prevention of getting ill, okay? About preparation, about planning, about relationship building, of which family time is one of those things. About empowerment, building other people. It's about sharpening the saw. It's about self-development. Under self-development, you will have things like journaling, things like studying, upgrading, okay? it was your mission statement. Okay, so you can see quadrant 2 is the leadership quadrant. Now, tasks in this quadrant don't have a deadline around the corner, but they are important, as I said. You know, they're important for achieving your life goals. And so ideally, we should spend the majority of our time on tasks in this box. But as I said, quadrant 2 tasks are often neglected because they never become urgent until it's too late. For example, taking care of your health or pursuing your dreams. Talking about dreams, okay? Secondly, compared to the other quadrants, these tasks actually require more investment of your energy, more investment of time before you see results. And that conflicts with, our modern society's obsession with instant results. Your network marketing is a clear example of this. Okay, people want results straight away when we know that so much personal development has to take place first, learning this. However, quadrant 2 tasks reap the most reward in the long run. Think about it as sowing seeds for future harvest. Okay, now, after you plant these seeds, you need to continually water and care for them. Okay, and it's a matter of time before you can reap the rewards of your labor. Those of us who've been investing 3 years before into social media and all that, suddenly with this lockdown, we have seen us reap the rewards of this. Okay, as Newskin said, 80% of our sales were online. Okay, but on the other hand, if you keep on putting off these quadrant 2 tasks, everything will remain the same. Whether it's 5 years, 10 years, or 20 years from now, it will remain the same. So focus on your quadrant 2 activities that will create vision, perspective, balance in your life, and control. So what do you do with quadrant 2? You just decide. Once you decide, you schedule it in. Okay, so for example, actually before this daily dose, I've got a coaching meeting with my coach from Australia. That's been scheduled. Okay, 3 months ahead. So that's why that's in there. Okay, I want to share with you an aspect about this. Okay, so if you ignore the quadrant 2 and you push it further away, what will happen is that increasingly you will find more quadrant 1 activities fill up this gap. It becomes a habit now that you're always fighting fire, that you are welcoming and bringing a lot of problems into your life. Okay, so that's the danger. Habits are developed. You're not developing the habit of putting first things first and doing the important things in your life first. You end up fighting fire all the time. Okay. Okay, now I want to talk about quadrant 3, urgent but not important. This is the quadrant of distraction. Okay, so I don't want to talk about it. It's not good, and and there are things like booking flights, filing taxes, responding to urgent emails, but actually they're not important. You can delegate these things. Okay, quadrant 4, not important and not urgent. This is the quadrant of waste, unimportant without value. You need to eliminate them. I'm not going to spend time on that. Okay, so these are the things that you delete or dump. I'll share with you how you react to that. Okay. Okay, so this is what you do with quadrant 1 is just to do. Quadrant 2, decide, and then schedule a time so it's there, it's booked. Quadrant 3, delegate. Quadrant 4, delete. Okay. As I said, I always end with a story. Let me, actually we are almost time already. But I want to share with you this story which emphasizes what a quadrant 2 activity is. And this comes from the book, Teach Your Team to Fish, where Jesus talks about examples of Jesus, where he made training the reward. There was a story about how training was the reward, and training is a quadrant 2 activity. Okay, important but not urgent, and so that's why we want to use every opportunity during the day, daily activities, daily things that we go through, to debrief them and train, because you can learn from life itself. Okay, so that was habit 3.